Hi guys, this is Erica Weston to my favorite St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio.
As the world's only personalized vitamin platform in our Discord server earlier today, we were in there for a couple hours. And speaking with, let's see, I wrote them down. We had Austin, friend of the show, Andrew, and then Mikko from Finland join us as well, which was a lot of fun talking to him. And I think he said it was like 11 o'clock at night his time. I think it was like 1 or 2 o'clock our time. So that was interesting, but always fun at Discord server. So the way that we always inform you is on our Twitter feed. We'll let you know when we're hopping in there. But it's always fun when we do that. Kurt, I hope you had a good time with that today.
I did. It was fun, and it was extra special to see Mikola's pictures. Or Mikko, not Mikola.
We do not have Nico Mikola in there.
No. He shared some pictures from Finland when the Blues won the cup. Their town goes to a square when the hockey team, the country's hockey team, wins a championship or whatever, and they go there to celebrate. And he went there at 7 a.m. after the Blues won, and went to celebrate. And it was virtually empty. It's in Finland, except for 2 or 3 other Blues fans that had went there. So he didn't know who these people were, and he celebrated with these 3 guys. They took pictures, and he shared the pictures. That was pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Like, you got to think, like, I lived in Dallas for a short period. The Cardinals were in the World Series the year I was there, and I thought, what am I going to do if they win? Where am I going to go? Like, that's for
that
here
was my
when
dilemma in Florida.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, what do you do? So for me, it was like, if they win, I guess I'll just go out to a bar and celebrate by myself, but that seems weird. So I'm glad he was able to celebrate with other Blues fans.
Yeah, I've told the story before. I was at Disney during game 5 and 6, and I watched game 5, loved it. They won. Watched game 6, and I wanted them to win so bad. But on the other hand, I was like, it wouldn't be so bad to go back home to celebrate for game 7, which is what happened. So that was great.
Yep. Well, folks, we are dual live streaming right now on YouTube and Facebook. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the show, smash the bell so you'll get notifications when we go live. Kurt, so we've already kind of talked about our Discord and everything going on there, but for me, a big thing has been the Olympics. That has been on nonstop in my house. Are you guys Olympic people in the Price house?
Oh, yeah. It's one of those things you put on the background. And I when I go to turn the TV on, like if I'm fixing lunch or something and say it's off, I'll turn it on and I'm like, oh, no, watch. Oh, Olympics are on, of course. And I feel guilty watching anything else except the Olympics because I feel like I'm missing something. And so today I watched, I think it was replays because noon today is a way different time there. So stuff's recorded. But I watched men's volleyball team playing, I think, Lithuania.
Yep, I saw that.
Handled them pretty easy. Yeah.
Yep.
So that was, I mean, of course, I've got the Olympics on and it's just fun to have on in the background.
Yeah, same here. So the wife is, it kind of holds a special place in our heart, especially because my son was born during the 2012 Olympics. And not to get too deep into things, but he was in the NICU for a while and it was kind of hard on us. So the way we coped was we sat in the waiting room and watched Olympics. We just watched the Olympics the whole time. And so as even though that's kind of more of a painful memory, it does kind of bring out some good things. And so we sorry, let me adjust myself here. Not that way.
You can do it that way too.
I mean, I will. I already am. So, that's the plan. But anyway, no. So for us, it's kind of like a little, I guess, nostalgic going back to when our son was born. So it's on constantly in our house. I have it on. I got a TV right over my shoulder here that when I'm working, I'm watching the Olympics. So it's definitely a huge part of our house whenever I'd say normally when the 4 years roll around, but now it's the 5th year. Well,
won't have to wait too long for the next one, the next summer.
Yeah,
because
3 years. That'd be nice.
Yeah. So we got the winter is next year, and then 2 years after that, summer again. So not so bad. If
Yeah,
you like the Olympics. Some people hate
I do.
them.
Some people do hate. I've seen people say that they need to suspend, stop doing them. We need to stop. I get, man. I hate the Olympic Committee as much as anyone. They are a bunch of fucking jackholes. But man, the Olympics themselves, I love them. I can't get enough of them.
Yeah, I agree. And the it'd be nice if they could spread it out like across an entire country. And I know a lot of some events are spread out, but if they were to host it in, say, the U.S., have some events in one state, some in another state, spread across the entire country. And granted, it's a big country, but still, for them, you could do that, and then you wouldn't have to have one city put the burden on one city or mostly one city to just provide and build all these venues and spend all this money. And they say that the cities lose tons of money when they host the Olympics. It's not even close. They're in the debt, like millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, $1 billion+ after the Olympics. So it'd be nice if they could spread that out across the country. So, some events could be perfect here, some there. So places wouldn't have to build as much stuff.
Yeah. It makes you wonder why so many places are always bidding to host the Olympics when all you hear about is the tear down and the terribleness afterward.
There are entire stadiums that don't get used after the Olympics are done. They'll build them and they don't use them. They're abandoned. It's crazy.
Rio is a perfect example. They've got full stadiums that haven't even been used since 5 years ago.
Wasn't there one in Brazil? I think it was a soccer stadium that they built or somewhere. It's in like the middle of the jungle.
I think it was the World Cup that you're talking about.
Maybe that was, but it's in the middle of the jungle, and they can't get to it. It's abandoned. No one uses it. It was like 6 games were hosted there, and that was it. And now they can't get to it, and it's just abandoned. It's just waste.
Yep. Cleared out all those trees for nothing.
Yeah.
Well, so let's get into some announcements for the show. We actually have a listener call out here. We already had a couple call outs for listeners, but this one's a little more important. F117 Nighthawk, we know you're listening. We just wanted to give you a nice call out for your upcoming thesis defense. Looks like your PhD defense is 3 weeks from Thursday, so we all wish you good luck. And as Kurt said on Twitter, we know you'll crush it. So, congrats.
She's pretty smart. I mean, she worked for NASA. She coaches a semi-pro team, men's team, baseball team. So I mean, she's multifaceted, multi-talented, pretty smart person. So I'm sure she'll do fine.
Yep. I have all the faith in the world. And she's going to be visiting in October, so we'll have to buy her a couple beers to congratulate her on her defense.
Yeah. Center Ice. Be a good place to hang out.
For sure. Yeah, it's a great spot. Anybody ever been to Center Ice? Huh? Good spot.
Center Ice Brewery? Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Well, official beer, speaking of getting beers, official beers of episode number 312. Remember, you can follow all of us on the Untapped app. Again, not a sponsor of the show, but just a great app that we all like to use to share what beer we're drinking. Kurt's at CPrice12. I'm JPonder94. Bill is at Billy Blue Note 33. Kurt, go ahead and lead us off. What are you drinking tonight?
I brought back an oldie but a goodie. One of my stock from last season, the peanut butter chocolate absence of light milk stout from Four Hints. In my, absence of light, in tribute to the absence of moves that the Blues made today. Absence of silence.
I like it. Well, mine is I'm drinking the Leinenkugel Summer Shandy, and it's a great beer. Just a good.
Boo.
Yeah, I got booed for that on Twitter, basically. By the way, Matt Kyle, if you're listening, friend of mine, screw you. This is a great beer. You can suck it.
It's a good beer.
It's a great beer.
It's a summer beer. Yeah. Well, I mean, what is
summer shandy. It's the ultimate summer beer to me. This and
really
the Four Hands one they have a really good summer brew too. I can't remember the name of it, but might just be the summer lager. But anyway, summer shandy's great. Lager? I think that's right. I'm about to look that up.
It's not called a summer lager, is it? It's called they've got those seltzers now, and they've got the those vodka spirits drinks too that are summery.
I'm gonna find it. Maybe it's
All
not
right.
even them. I don't know. I like the Full Life a lot. Maybe that's what I'm
Full Life's
thinking
good.
of.
Full Life's good. That's a lager. Your classic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, yeah. So, good summer beer, and my tie-in with that is it's summer. So, Kurt, yours was a little better, but hey, it's summer.
Maybe the name ties in better, but the milk stouts don't taste that great when it's hot outside.
That is true. I actually remember I had that exact beer, not the beer in your hand, but that type of beer that I had it saved over the summer, and I pulled it out on a warm day. I was sitting outside after I mowed the grass, and I took a sip, and I was like, "Nope, this one's not going to work today."
Yeah, it's like Anchorman. Milk was a bad choice.
Yeah, pretty much.
Speaking of heat, I just walked out in my garage a second ago. Why is it that garages, it's like not cool to insulate a garage and keep it cool in the summer? Keep it warm.
My
in the
dad
winter?
did.
Why is that?
My dad always did.
I know you can do it, but hardly anyone does. And it's wasted space. You never go in there. You don't have to heat the cool the garage. I don't go in my utility room ever. Why do we cool that? There's certain rooms I don't go in hardly ever in my house.
Yeah, I'll go in my son's room. Why do I insulate that?
I would love for my garage to be cool in the summer and warm in the winter. That'd be fantastic. Getting in the car in the morning, especially in the winter. I don't know why people don't do that more often. I mean, it costs a little more, but so what? Insulate the garage door, insulate, so it seals up real nice. The walls, ceiling, attic, just make it happen. Make it so. Can't be that much more.
I wonder if my dad did it because I think that's where he liked to go to get away from us because we were so noisy. So it was like in the middle of the summer, even middle of the day, it was like, oh, I can still go out to the garage and not die from heat exhaustion.
See, that's smart. Because I walked out there just now. I was like, oh my God, it's hot in there.
Yeah.
And it's it was 9:00 at night. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, I took a work call today, and for some reason my head was like, go out to the garage instead of going to the basement. And I went out into the garage. I'm like, oh God, I hope this call ends very quickly.
I mean, I'm glad the wall against my garage is apparently insulated very well because you walk inside, it's nice and cool. But the garage itself is not. It's like walking into a soup
sauna.
It's awful. Yeah, sauna.
Yeah. Yep. I hear you. Well, today in Blues history, courtesy of the @STL Blues history account, you can follow them on Twitter there. July 28th, 2021 is today's date, but July 28th, 1995, the St. Louis Blues signed Shane Corson of the Edmonton Oilers to a 5-year offer sheet, and obviously became a big part of that 95-96 team that was the Gretzky year. So, interesting day in Blues history.
Yeah, became the Blues captain too, and then gave it up when Gretzky came.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then also I want to add, I think it was 90. Was it 94? The Shanahan Pronger trade. That was actually the day before. That was July 27th. I think it was. I think it was 94 or 95. And so that was just part of STL Blues history's tweets the day before, but thought we should mention it. That was kind of an important day in Blues history.
Speaking of, I mentioned that Corson had the C for the captaincy and gave it up to Gretzky when he came over. At the time I was like, oh yeah, he'll give Gretzky the C. But, being part of this show and analyzing things a whole lot more than I, probably used to, that's kind of weird to a new guy getting the C. I know it's Wayne Gretzky, greatest player of all time by far. I get it. But it's just like, it's going to be weird for him. He doesn't know the room. It's kind of odd. Kind of weird. I think that'd have been, to give somebody the C like that right off the bat is, sure, it's an honor. I get it. But I don't know if I'd do that today.
I don't know if we would ever see it again, to be honest. Tavares waited a year before he got the C in Toronto, right?
Yeah, it's a weird thing to be handed to, because you got to know the team, right? To know the room,
yeah.
I don't know. You already have everyone's respect. I understand that part, but it's just kind of weird.
I misspoke, by the way. So the Pronger-Shanahan trade was actually 95. So this was, I guess, kind of the way. This was probably the plan by Mike Keenan, right? Get rid of Shanahan, get Pronger, and then go get another power forward in Shane Corson the next day. So that's exactly what happened.
I mean, I like Shane Corson. He was a I'm trying to remember back. I mean, I remember him not being quite as productive on the score sheet as he had hoped to be with us, but I liked him. He's a tough as nails guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was a big fan of his, too.
Mhm.
July 28th, 2000, St. Louis Blues named Chris Kerber the radio play-by-play announcer and Kelly Chase as the radio analyst. That was a team that I loved. I am still a huge Kerber fan, friend of the show. Chaser's moved on to other things, but you can still follow him on Twitter. Still as funny as ever.
Yeah. And controversial.
Yep. July 28th, 2013, former St. Louis Blues players Bernie Federko and Red Berenson were inducted into the Saskatchewan Hockey Hall of Fame. And one more, July 28th, 2019, St. Louis Blues host the 2019 Stanley Cup Champions movie premiere at Stiefel Theater. Did you attend that?
Didn't
I didn't.
No, I didn't. I did not. No.
Did Bill? I thought one of us went.
I thought one of us did. Maybe it was Bill.
Might have been Bill.
No, I didn't. I was going to. I didn't get over there to watch it.
Yep. I'm going to go ahead and go ahead.
Is that the one they released on DVD later? No.
I think that is it. Yeah, pretty sure.
But Pang was there, Chase was there.
They had Hall doing the Q&A thing. Yeah. Yep. I remember wanting to go, but for some reason I couldn't. And I'll add real quick one more. So tomorrow, July 29th, when this show probably debuts for podcasters, that is my son's birthday. So happy 9th birthday to Shay.
Happy birthday, Shay.
Yep. Looking forward to that. Gonna get him a good old ice cream cake, which is pretty much his favorite thing in the world.
Dairy Queen or somewhere else?
Oh, DQ. You got to go DQ,
right? They're fantastic.
They're so good.
And they've never changed. How long they've had them? They've always been exactly the same, and they're fantastic.
Yeah,
it's just a combination of the. Now, do you go with the log or the cake?
Oh, I get the cake.
Yeah, the sheet cake. Yeah, because I mean the whipped cream like border, and then the fudge and the cookie center, the layer in the middle.
It can't be beat. It's too good.
You can't. Why change? Don't fix what isn't broken. And that ice cream cake has been the same, I think, since they released it. Probably, how long have they had that now? Good 30 years?
Oh, God. I mean, I remember being a kid and getting it and thinking it was fantastic, and I'm 36.
And it has not changed a bit, which is perfect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, here we go, talking about yummy, delicious treats to our sponsors who are all about helping making you healthy, rockinthatidlife.com. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Put that energy drink down. Don't you know that common energy drinks contain high levels of caffeine and other harmful ingredients that can lead to increased blood pressure and heart rhythm disturbances? Finding that energy you need for everyday activities doesn't need to put your health at risk. ID Life's energy formula doesn't use artificial ingredients or a massive dose of caffeine. Energy's caffeine levels are released slowly over time, allowing for longer periods of energy without crash, not to mention keeping your heart safe. Energy also includes neurotransmitters for mood, focus, memory, and cognitive function. ID Life also added antioxidants associated with brain health for no reason besides perfection. With rockinthatidlife.com, you can get an energy boost and leave the heart risk behind. Text Dustin at 636-393-8745 or visit rockinthatidlife.com and throw those gas station energy drinks in the garbage. That's 636-393-8745 and rockinthatidlife.com and tell Dustin that Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. So pretty big show here, folks. We got a lot to get to, with it being July 28th, not normally the case. But again, with the COVID years in front of us, or actually, I guess behind us, we've definitely had to push we as hockey fans have had to push things back a couple weeks here and there. So this is a very, very big show here, folks. First, we'll go through kind of what you would for a normal calendar. We'll start quickly with the NHL entry draft, which took place last Friday. So before we get into the draft itself and who the Blues took, there was a big trade. We have a trade to announce, which, by the way, when there was a trade, did you notice he didn't say that this year?
We have a trade to announce.
Yeah, he
No.
didn't say it this year. There was, I think, 2 trades in the middle of the first round, and neither one did he say that. And I'm like, come on, man. That's like your catchphrase. That's the one everybody likes to hear you say.
If we were prepared, we have that sound clip. We have a trade to announce, and then the whole crowd boos.
Yep.
And then he says, I think you're going to want to hear this.
Yep. That was one of my favorites. That was a good one. So the Blues traded Sammy Blais, 2019 Stanley Cup winner, and a 2022 second-round pick to the New York Rangers for Pavel Buchnevich. Buchnevich is 26. He was set to become a restricted free agent with arbitration rights. Last year, he had 20 goals and 28 assists in 54 games. And he also, just yesterday, go ahead and get to this now, because we'll talk about this as a whole, signed a 4-year, $23.2 million contract on Tuesday. So Blues acquire a right wing. Did say in his interview today, though, that he can play left wing, but pretty clear he likes the right side, which is fine with me. I think that the Blues are definitely wanting some help on the right side, especially if Tarasenko goes. But Kurt, go ahead and tell me your thoughts on this trade. I think I know what you'll say, but still exciting times here in St. Louis.
What's not to like? I mean, if this trade had happened today, Blues Nation wouldn't be upset at all right now, which is kind of funny. Just because it happened last week. What's the difference, right? But no, I by far the better player in this deal. New York just didn't want to pay Buchnevich, I guess, and they took Blais, who is a fine player, but Blais is a bottom 6 guy. I like Blais for the role he plays. I like him a lot, but he's a bottom 6 guy. Jay Fresh Hockey on Twitter kind of broke it down, simply and effectively. He goes, Buchnevich acquired by St. Louis is a top-end first-line winger who's been consistently strong through the last 3 seasons with great results at both ends of the ice. He's got, advanced stats to the show. He's got stuff that to back up his opinion there. And then he goes on to say that Sammy Blais, acquired by the Rangers, went on a big shooting bender this season in small minutes, but is otherwise an unremarkable defensive-minded bottom 6 winger, which is fair. So, I mean, when you see the other team's fans pissed off at the trade that is made with your team, just makes you smile at the return you got, because Buchnevich is it's so much better than Blais. I mean, if you project out his points from last season over a full season, something like 72 points he was projected to get over a full season. So, and Blais is half that player. So win-win. I mean, I love it. I'd love to see the Blues do more, though.
Well, and you made the comment that when you see other fans get pissed on the other team, that puts a smile on your face. How about Artemi Panarin, one of the best wingers in the league, came out and seemed very against this trade in an interview in The Athletic. So that right there tells you that that's a huge loss for the Rangers. And I agree. Listen, Sammy Blais, I'm not kidding when I say this, one of my favorite players on that Cup team. I love players that can plug in anywhere in the lineup. I'm not trying to make a reference to St. Louis loving fourth liners. I like utility players. I like guys that you can put on your first line and on the fourth line, and they're effective either way. And I think Sammy Blais,
like a Zach Sanford kind of guy.
Yeah, like a Zach Sanford, easily one of the best premier utility players in the league.
Right.
Hopefully other teams are listening to this podcast right now.
Sure.
But no, I'm a huge Sammy Blais fan, and I wish him nothing but the best. I hope he has a long NHL career. I hope he comes out and becomes a 20-goal guy for the Rangers, and I will still smile that the Blues got rid of him because I think this is a great trade for them. Buchnevich is exactly what they needed on the wing. Again, mostly a right wing, but can play the left side. He's a first liner, like you said. I mean, this is a guy that let's just put it like this: if he's on your second line, you've got a hell of a top 6. And he's a guy that's got good hands. He likes to go to the net. Just a solid player all around. And everyone was saying steal. This was another a steal from the Blues general manager. I hope they're right. I feel like right away with the O'Reilly and the Shen trades, this was a steal. But that's also because the Blues were getting rid of just bad contracts in order to get those players.
Yeah.
Blais wasn't a bad contract. He's a fine player. But
Yeah.
this was definitely an upgrade. So I don't want to say it's a steal just yet. But I do think, when you rate a trade 5-10 years in the future, the first thing you ask is, who's the best player in the trade? I think hands down, that's definitely going to be Buchnevich.
Absolutely. And to compare it to acquiring O'Reilly for Berglund, Sobotka, and Tage Thompson, that is one of the biggest steals of all time in the NHL.
Yeah.
Especially, at the time it was a huge steal. And then now hindsight, looking back on it, it's even bigger steal because of, O'Reilly went on to MVP, this cup team. And you look at where Berglund's career is now, Sobotka and Thompson. Just nothing panned out for Buffalo. So, that's not even in the same ballpark comparison because it's just one of the greatest trades of all time, in my opinion. Derek in the YouTube chat says, if Buchnevich was a UFA today, would we have had to spend more, about the same, or less?
Oh, I think it's more. It's always more.
Yeah,
right?
Because you got more teams bidding. Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
exactly. And I think had the Blues decided to lock up Jaden Schwartz, or I don't know whose call that was, we'll get to that in a little bit. But had the conversation been, let's make sure this happens by, let's say, April 1st. Blues aren't signing him to $5.5 million. He's going for less. Just because I don't think his value is that high. But it's the same with many players that signed today. Michael Del Zotto, Stanley Cup winner with the St. Louis Blues, signed a 2-year, $4 million contract today. He doesn't get that if it's right before training camp. He's getting a PTO at that point. So yes, I think it's always going to be higher in free agency.
You mentioned Schwartz. He got a raise from last season.
Slight raise, but yes.
Slight raise. And I went back and I listened to a little bit of our postseason show when we talked about, UFAs and Schwartz was one of them, obviously. And talked about, what he might get as a free agent. If we were to resign him, I was like, it's got to be less. He can't get a raise over what he's done recently. So I think 5.2, 5.3 he made, something like that.
So he went to, he was at 5.35 with us, and that's AAV, by the way, that's his cap hit.
Yes, right.
And then with his signing today, it's at 5.5.
See, to bring him back, I would have said four max for the Blues.
Oh, for sure. Max. Yeah, I honestly, and maybe it's a different situation. And you know what? We'll get to Jaden Schwartz in a couple minutes. Let's hold that. But let's go ahead and get real quick to the draft picks. Kurt, let me just go ahead and ask before I start listing any of these guys off. Anything you want to say about these guys other than our generic, hey, we don't know, let's see how they pan out kind of talk?
Nobody really knows. It's you draft and you hope. Even the scouts. They scout these guys and they can say what they do well now. It's and to project out to what they're going to do. 2-3 years from now, 4 years from now.
Yep.
It's tough. You draft based on the best player available, in my opinion.
And these are the best.
I don't even think you draft based on need, because these guys,
especially in the first round,
until 3-4 years from now, unless you're drafting like right at the top, and that's almost set anyway. But if you've, these guys aren't going to be sniffing an NHL roster for 3-4 years at least. So, who knows what the need will be at that time. So I don't think you draft based on need, especially, where we're picking. So.
Yeah. And you think about like David Perron, he was a complete anomaly to step in. I think he was drafted 24th or 26th the year the Blues took him, and he stepped in the next year and was automatically a mainstay for the Blues. That's not common. I think Andrew Shaw had a crazy, what was he like? He was like a 5th round pick and he stepped in the next year. I mean, there's guys that do that, and it's amazing when they do, but that's why it's always noted, because it never happens unless you're like a top 3 pick. So it's always impressive when it does happen. So I agree. You don't know what your need's going to be in 3 to 5 years when these guys are going to start coming up and making a challenge to make the team.
And it's interesting. It's interesting to read, the strengths of a player and the analysis, the eliteprospects.com, whatever it's called, to go down there and kind of read, about the player and who you got. Oh, okay. So they project him as a third line guy kind of thing at best. Back in the day, a number of years ago, Bill used to come over, and we would I had things printed out, like a draft analysis of all the top 100 players, and we would sit down and watch the draft, and we'd just read about each time a player was drafted, we'd read up on him. It was interesting, but I don't do it anymore. But it was fun.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I mean, I used to do the media thing. I went to 2 drafts in my time. And at that point it was, okay, I have to like really dive deep and get to know these guys and see who fits with the Blues. But at the end of the day, I mean, I was the one, I don't know if anybody remembers that I was all for drafting Ivan Barbashev with the Robbie Fabry pick. And when they picked Fabry, I said, yeah, it's a great pick, but I would have preferred Barbashev. Well, lo and behold, they go out in the second round with the pick they got from Edmonton, and they picked up Barbashev, and I think it was number 33. So, and yes, Barbashev turned out to be a great player, but he easily could have turned out to be a guy who played 3 years over here and then decided to go over to the KHL. You never know what's going to happen with these guys. So real quick, we'll go through the Blues draft picks. First round, number 17, Zach Bolduc went. He's a center or a winger. Also, he's not to be confused with Alexander Bolduc, who was the Blues' 4th round, 127th overall pick in 2003. Did that name, when they picked him, did you have one of those, wait a minute, Bolduc? Did you have that moment? Because I definitely did.
Well, okay.
Because, that was the first thing that I'm like, wait a minute, didn't they draft somebody named Bolduc before?
Here's the deal. Well, yeah, first that, but also with a last name like Bolduc, he's not going to play for us. just, I mean, I there's just something about that last name is not going to make the NHL on this team. He may play for somebody else, but he's not going to be just Zach. I cannot see. Yes, Zach Bolduc is penciled in as a starting, on a right wing or on third line in for the Blues. I just don't see it happening. It seems like a name that is not conducive to play in the NHL. That made the most shallow analysis ever.
Let's timestamp this.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a name.
Let's timestamp it. So July 28th, 2021. I don't have the time of the show, but Kurt Price is already making his claim that Zach Bolduc will never wear a Blues jersey in a regular season game.
No, he'll get moved, and he'll have a.
And he's basing that off his last name, folks.
You know what? If Ottawa were to have drafted him, oh yeah, he'll play for a team like Ottawa.
He'd play tomorrow.
Yeah, right. He's not going to play for us. He'll get moved, and Ottawa will take him.
So, real quick notes on Bolduc. Bolduc's by the way, these notes all come from Elite Prospects, which is a great site. Give you a little analysis on these players. Bolduc's tools give him the upper hand in downhill battles. When defenders stand flat-footed or rush him, he dangles through them with rapid stick-handling motions. And when given an open shooting lane, he can take a couple of steps, kick a leg back, and sling pucks past the goalie. So basically, he's a shooter. He's a guy that likes to score. What are you giggling at?
There's some comments about what I said in YouTube chat.
I'm shocked.
Ben H301 says, "What does the last name have to do with anything?" What? That makes 0 sense. I'm mostly joking. It's just in my mind, I hear Bolduc. I'm like, that's not a name we're gonna see. And then
I think
Brian
you're basing it off the draft pick that I brought up earlier, Alexander Bolduc. That guy never played for the Blues.
And point noted, he never played for us. That was 4th round though, but still. And then Brian Riggleman says, "I'm sorry, am I watching Don Cherry right now?"
Oh,
Well played.
you got to
sir.
wear the
Good
crazy
call.
suit jacket. What are you doing?
Yeah, I know, right? I need I got the blues they make me drink shirt on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm mostly 98% joking here, but it's just what popped into my head when the name was said, when it was announced. I'm like, man, it sound like a name was gonna play for us.
Well,
Anyway.
and I'll say there too, and real well, you know what? We're going to say it about all these, but I'll go ahead and jump in now and say this was a pick where right after it was made, you saw the Twitter experts come out and say that's not who I would have taken, and
Sure.
and again
Because of his last name.
Yes, that had to be it. No,
it.
for me, it's just it's man, these NHL scouts, and it's funny because like I used to complain about this live with Mike Pepping on the KSDK show that I did when he used to complain about the Blues picking Eric Johnson over Jonathan Taves. The experts at the time, it was a consensus. Eric Johnson was number one. You take him number one, no matter what. And it's the same here. Not saying that he was consensus number 17 because that's silly, but the Blues scouting team, they saw more hockey from this guy than anyone you read about on Twitter. So I'm going to trust their judgment that they know the pick they're making, and clearly they know more than anyone you'll read who's tweeting about it.
He was the CS rank, North American ranking was number 17, and the Hockey Writers ranking was number 41 for Zachary Balduke, 6'1", 175 pounds. So,
well, next pick was in the third round, number 71 overall, Simon Robertson, a right wing. Blues actually traded with the San Jose Sharks to move up 10 picks in the third round just to make this pick. Quick notes on him. He pushes his top hand from his body and fully engages the lever motion down force on his stick for a mechanically clean shot with plenty of zip and accuracy. Robertson couples that shot with savvy off-the-puck timing to make him a consistent scoring threat in the offensive zone. And this comes from Blues, the head of scouting now. I forgot his first name. Feltrin's his last name. God damn it. I should have put that in here. Robertson was a player we were comfortable paying a price to acquire. We believe in his abilities. He's a good, hard-driving winger. We did not feel we wanted to risk him slipping through. And from all accounts that I saw from actual scouts, from people who are in the know, who actually make scouting reports based off seeing these guys play live, they all said this was a great pick for the St. Louis Blues, and we will be seeing him in an NHL jersey one day soon.
Yeah, I saw some comments from some people that predicted that you'll see him before you see Balduke.
It's because of the name.
The name.
Yeah, and
I would say there's a few comments in the chat. Ben H301 says the fake NHL insider Twitter people act like they could be a better GM than Doug Armstrong. That's 100% true.
Mm-hmm.
That is accurate. A lot of people out there think they know best. He also said Robertson was projected to go 11th by Central Europe scouts or something. So it's a big steal in his opinion too. So
yeah, Swedish, right? Is that right?
That sounds like a name that we'd see in a Blues uniform one day to me.
Simon Robertson. Yeah, Swedish hockey player.
It's the double S. It's the double S.
Yeah, it's definitely what it is. No, this was a trade that, or I'm sorry, a pickup that everyone was buzzing about. So very exciting. Hopefully we see this kid, in camp soon and see what he can bring. So fifth round, Blues pick number 145, Tyson Galloway, who's a defenseman. The skating translates to rush defense, where Galloway usually drives the puck carrier to the perimeter before pivoting and erasing them along the boards. Lots of off-puck activation with some in-motion passes and give-and-go type plays. So I'll say with defensemen, as this was the only defenseman the Blues picked, they've apparently been striking gold on defense with their picks. We still are yet to see them really prosper, but Scott Perunovich, Tyler Tucker was a guy who was picked in the 7th round, who they're saying could still be an NHL defenseman and has a great upside. So if our scouts are proof of anything, it's apparently that they know how to pick D. So should be interesting to see if this kid ever works his way up the Blues depth chart. The last pick was our 7th round pick, number 198, Ivan Vorobyov, who's a right wing. Vorobyov had 21 goals and 29 assists in 50 games with his Russian junior team. The team feels he has good scoring ability and good quickness. Looks like he needs to put on some weight. He'll move up to the VHL, the second division of Russian hockey this season. So there you go. There you have it. There's the 4 Blues draft picks. But obviously the biggest news came in the trade of acquiring Pavel Buchnevich last week.
You mentioned the Blues striking gold in defense, and I would agree with you. Well, it's 2 examples right now are Mikola, 5th round, 5th round, 127th overall. He's an NHL defenseman. You find a solid NHL player in the 5th round, fantastic.
Oh yeah,
and then Wallman was undrafted, right? He wasn't drafted.
I think that's correct.
So he's not listed here as drafted. I thought that was the case. So again, another good find defensively. But
Colton Parayko.
Yeah. Later, not early round guy, right?
I'm sorry, Jake Wallman, 2014 draft, 3rd round, 82nd overall.
Really? Okay, because Hockey Reference doesn't have his. Oh, there it is. Okay, it was hidden for some reason. You're right.
Yeah, he was drafted. And then let's also not forget, you talked about
Edmondson?
undrafted. Well, Edmondson, of course, but undrafted, Petteri Lindbaum. I know he didn't really pan out, but there was about 2 years there where Blues players and the team and management thought he was going to be a staple on the Blues defense. So clearly this draft team, these scouts, they know what they're doing with defensemen. So interesting to see Galloway, what he could maybe progress into.
Yep. Nice little steal in the 5th round if he can pan out. Yeah.
Yeah. So Kurt, you were not here last week for the expansion draft. So clearly Seattle made some noise today and leading up to free agency. But since you weren't here last week, let's go ahead and take a quick little interlude. Let's call it Kurt's interlude. Kurterlude.
Kurterlude?
Kurterlude.
Sounds like something I could get an ointment for or something.
So what did you think of Seattle's drafted team, and what did you think of the Blues losing Vince Dunn in that draft?
I thought the Seattle's drafted team left a lot to be desired. I thought they passed on a lot of talent. It didn't make whatever. But losing Dunn was expected. I mean, that's the guy we projected they were going to take the whole way, right from the very beginning. And then, and of course, there was speculation that when Tarasenko was left exposed, and all of a sudden, Tarasenko, they could take him. But no, I mean, I didn't. I'm probably the biggest Vince Dunn fan on this show. I don't know, maybe I'm not, but I like Dunn a lot, and I hated to lose him. But I think that was a good pick by Seattle to take him. I think he's going to be. I mean, he was cheap. He's dynamic. His ceiling's high. He's young. That's a great pick for the Kraken.
Yeah. And again, if you want to hear what Bill and I thought, we did a live show right after the expansion draft last week. So make sure you tune in, check that out on our thoughts on what the Kraken did. But spoiler alert for a past episode, is that even a thing? I agree with you on Vince Dunn. I think that was the right move for them, especially with the other defenseman they took. They went really young. And I think Vince Dunn being kind of an anchor there on that defensive core, I think that's the way to go for them.
Yeah, I like the defense. The Ben H 301 circling back to the defense talk. I think Wallman is really underrated. I agree. I think Wallman is looked fantastic. Good puck mover. He makes plays. Really hope that he gets a regular shift. I'd much rather see him play than, Bertuzzo, even though Bertuzzo is a nice PK guy. But anytime you can get a dynamic player in there instead of Bertuzzo, I mean, you're going to upgrade. So, and even Scandella, play Wallman, easily. Have Scandell makes $3.25 million? Is that what he makes? $4 million? No.
I think it's 3.25 sounds right. Let me look.
Let me see here. 3.25.
By the way, TSN
3.275 Price is Right rules. That's a pretty good guess.
That's good. Good job.
Yeah.
TSN has Brian Elliott listed on their free agent tracker as going to the Ducks. That is not correct.
He signed
Tampa.
Tampa.
Yeah. So yeah. So TSN, if you're listening, update your shit.
There's a lot going on, Jeff. Give him a break.
I know. They all can't be as spick and span as Let's Go Blues Radio, right?
No, few are. Few
yeah,
are.
Exactly. So talking about NHL free agency. Yes, the Blues were quiet today after the Buchnevich trade. And then, by the way, did you not love Armstrong's comments after that trade when he was talking to the media and he said, like, we're not done, stay tuned?
Yeah.
Like, I ate that shit up. I was like, fucking A, Dougie. Go after it, buddy.
I've got a lot to say about today.
You have a lot to say?
About today in particular. You want to do this now?
Real quick, let's jump into. So the Blues are quiet today. They're one of two teams who did nothing, no signings at all. The other team being the New York Islanders. There were 140, and these stats are courtesy Kurt pulling these up. So thank you for that, Kurt. 140 signings, totaling 272 years in contracts, more than 260 million in cap hits, and 760 million plus in actual dollars. A lot of money. But again, Blues and Islanders, only two teams who did nothing today.
Credit where credit is due there. Those numbers came from Lou Korak. So.
Okay. Well, there you go. Friend of the show, Lou Korak.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who I think, a little teaser, we're going to be having back on here in a little bit.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Somebody,
good guy.
You see on Twitter today, he suggested, with the Calgary signed
Blake Coleman.
Coleman, yeah. Signed Coleman, and Korak speculated, just threw it out there and said, hey, maybe now with the acquisition of Coleman, the Flames might be more inclined to trade Tkachuk now, if they weren't before. And he was just putting it out there. And somebody replied, LOL, Blues fans, Flames aren't trading Tkachuk. And Korak responded to him and goes, Blues fan, ? I cover the team, asshat. I didn't call him asshat, but I'm sure he was thinking it. Because I cover the team for NHL.com. And I'm like, that's funny. That's hilarious.
No, I love that. He's feisty. That's what I like about him the most. He's so funny to watch on social media.
Yeah, I think his patience for stuff like that is like non-existent.
Which over the years, Jesus, that just, again, the short time that I was in the media, the shit that I would get for just a game story or a tweet even, it gets old pretty fucking quick. So I don't blame him for as long as he's been in the business. So
no moves today for the Blues. Yet. It's 10-12. But you know what? Okay, so and I mentioned earlier on the show that if the Buchnevich trade today, happened today, that the Army would be like, hey, making a nice move. Okay, what else we got? He wouldn't be
well, and let's face it too. The I think a large majority of people would say, finally, Army did something, right? Because that means he wouldn't have done anything last week.
Right. and you know what? Okay, so the big fish was Landeskog, and he wasn't even on the table to be taken because he was signed last night. So, there's a couple names they could have went after and could have got, but it's like, there was a pretty hefty price tag on a lot of these guys, and you may be overpaying for people. If you want to bring back a Hoffman, they were supposedly in on Hoffman.
Did they go to the zoo?
But
supposedly,
supposedly. Montreal offered more money, and he signed for 4.5 with Montreal. So I guess they're offering him maybe like the same 4, or I don't know. So or a little less than that, but which would have been fair to me. I think 4.5 is a fair number for Hoffman. I like that number for Montreal.
Yeah.
But would I have done 5 for Hoffman?
No.
I don't think so. No. So it's like, okay, I mean, that's fine. But I get it though. You can't just keep letting everybody go because you don't want to pay this or that. Schwartz goes. Schwartz is overpaid. I'm almost positive of it. He got a raise when we talked about, in our postseason wrap up show that he needed to make a lot more to come back, a lot less to come back for us, and that didn't happen. So okay, that's fine. Good riddance. Bozak he didn't sign.
No, he's still a free agent.
No, so and he might come back for. Didn't they say he? No, they said he was out, right, for the Blues.
No, somebody did not say that.
Well, okay,
he's testing the market basically.
Right, that's what it was. Because they apparently a deal was on the table for 1 year for Bozak.
And I could see him circling back to the Blues and saying, "I got this offer. Can you guys match it?" I really could. Yeah. I think him and Molly love it here in St. Louis.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's obvious he likes it here. But he'd have to make a lot less too. I mean, we're talking like, a couple million. I mean,
he signed for 4, right? He was at $4 million per.
Was it? I thought it was more than that. I thought it was like 5.
I thought he got 4. Well, you look it up. I would say what number? I mean, even now, after all these guys, we've seen some of these guys go off the table. What's your number for Tyler Bozak? He was at 5? Holy shit. So what's your number for him?
Right. For Bozak?
And you know what? The service he gave the Blues, I'm more than happy for that $5 million a year.
Yeah, no, we want to cut. He earned it. I have no issues with anybody that was signed prior to the Cup season that helped win the Cup. That was worth it to me.
The way that I see it too with the Bozak, and not to look back into the past too much, but with a Bozak making $5 million, you got to look at the fact that Carl Gunnarsson took a pay cut to stay here. And then Pat Maroon, the year he was here when they won the Cup, he was making probably less than anybody would have expected him to make at that point. So it took a while. Really, it all kind of balanced out in a way.
Remember that? It took a while for him to sign here. The rumors were like going on, and it took days and days for him that to finally happen.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, and I'm at like 2 million on Bozak, I guess.
I'd probably go up to 2.5.
2.5.
I think getting him as your third line center, and then obviously a makeshift second line center if you have injuries.
But he's 84 years old.
Well, you know what? His 84 is better than my 36.
You know what? He does. I mean, assuming he doesn't have a drop off due to age, or just any substantial drop off. He's a good face-off guy. He's a good defensive forward, and he can score a little bit still. So I mean, he's worth some money. He's not worth what
he's got great hands. He really does have good hands. He can pass the puck. Like there was rumors when he signed here, even after O'Reilly was traded here the same day, that they would still put Bozak with Tarasenko because his hands were so good, which they tried over the years and were successful at times. Yeah. Well, anyway, so
Ben H301 on the YouTube chat says 1.5 to 2 million for Bozak. Okay. Yeah. And they're just confirming what we said about 4.5 for Hoffman. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and Ben H301 says Matthew Tkachuk recently bought a house pretty close to where I live, also, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think Matthew still has a house here, or bought a house here, like he said. And I know Brady still spends his summers here. I think he still lives with his dad. So,
and they do, and they
Chantal
do here,
of course,
right? Don't they?
Yeah, they were actually just in town for Synergy Hockey. I don't know if you saw that. Synergy Hockey had their training camp, one of their training camps over at the Ice Zone. I think it was the Ice Zone recently, and both Tkachuk boys came out and talked to the kids that were attending the camp. So yeah, they're still very active. I think I told the story about my great friend who's a listener of the show, Mike. His son was the one that was attacked by a bulldog years ago. Actually, I think it was last year, maybe 2 years ago. I can't remember. God, time is just a bitch right now with COVID. I can't remember a year from 2 years ago. But anyway, I know the Kachuk boys came out and saw him after he had his head bandaged up. So yeah, they're still very active in the hockey community here, which is amazing. Just love them for that.
So, talking about the Blues not making any moves today, I don't think I mentioned that I'm perfectly fine with the Blues not making moves so far, based on what guys signed for and what it would have taken to get them here. I'm not overly upset about no moves yet. I mean, like I said, we got the Buchnevich trade, which is fantastic. So that's part of, it doesn't matter what day it happened. It happened last week. So what? It's just today, last week, doesn't matter. So but I do expect Armstrong to do something. It's probably going to be a trade. I mean, you could sign Saad, which I'd love Saad for the right price as a depth score guy. If you have Buchnevich, Saad, and make a trade to bring in a top 6 guy, rumors are, Kachuk's out there, which seems like a pipe dream. It's been rumored for so long, but
yeah.
I'm not really, and all these people on social media that just flipping out about the Blues not doing anything. What's going on? Are you guys going to do anything at all?
Let's be honest here.
3:00.
Yeah, let's be honest here. The big move that I think the Blues were really going to try and make was Gabe Landeskog. You mentioned it. Re-signed last night with Colorado at 8 years, $7 million per, $56 million total. So I think the Blues would have given him 7 by 7. And last I heard, before that deal was signed, that was the deal that the Avalanche gave him. They offered him 7 by 7, and he said no. And that was what the insiders were saying. Well, if they tack on that 8th year because they can, that's what's going to push him over the top. And I think is exactly right. I think that's what did it. I think when they finally said, okay, we'll give you 8 years at 7, he said, okay, that's fine.
I would have been fine with the Blues going 8 on him.
Yeah, 7 at 8. Yeah, I agree. Same thing. Yep, I would have too.
I wonder if he would have done that.
I think he would have at least had to have strongly considered it. But you got to figure other teams are probably doing it too. So at that point, you're probably either looking at other schematics of the deal, or you're looking at what city you want to play in.
I mean, it's the same total dollars. You get 1 less year on it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, still sets you up pretty damn good for the end of your career.
I mean, it doesn't.
But anyway, I think that to me was the move that Armstrong was going to make. He's a Berube type player. Plus, you're plucking him from a Central Division rival. I just think that would have made way more sense than anything. So when that happened last night, it was, okay, what's plan B? Obviously, I think Jaden Schwartz was still in the back of their mind. Mike Hoffman clearly was one, which rumors came out. Well, actually, not even rumors. The truth came out after he signed with Montreal that the Blues made offers. It just wasn't enough. And he ended up going to Montreal, like you said. So there's a couple different, and we'll talk about forwards really quick. Schwartz, Hoffman, Blake Coleman, which we mentioned, signs with Calgary. That was another one that I think people were kind of hoping the Blues would look at. And then Zach Hyman was a guy who he's the last week been rumored to go into Edmonton. He did go to Edmonton, but I think a lot of people were hoping maybe he'd consider St. Louis as well. So, yeah, I'm with you 100%. I saw the deals that went through today, and I seriously, and we've said this on the show a million times, Doug Armstrong is not the best with contract signing. Lately, I think he's done a really good job. But the Berglund contracts, even let's face it, the Bouwmeester contract was bad for the first 4 years of that deal. And we've seen other deals. I mentioned Derek Roy on Twitter. Steve Ott was another one. Just lots of bad signings in the past. But trades, that's his cup of tea. And so seeing him be quiet today, that does not bother me. Again, it's July 28th. It's the opening day of free agency, and the season kicks off on October 16th. That is plenty of time for a trade specialist to go out and still dynamically mess with the team's roster. I mean, look at the one move he's already made. That was, by all accounts, that was a huge trade for the Blues offense. I think you're going to see maybe not that type of move, but you're going to see some more retooling. And I think by October 16th, we're all going to be kind of satisfied with what changes are made. It's just right now, people are freaking out for no reason.
I don't get it, because I had to step away from social media today, which was unfortunate, because that's where the pulse of all this chatter and rumors are. And I had to step away because I'm like, just a constant stream of after at like 3:00. People are like just all pissed off for the Blues not doing anything. It's like, Jesus Christ, guys! It's like we're just a few hours into this, and people are already like proclaiming they're not going to watch this season, or the team is, if we're not going to do anything, let's rebuild. It's like, my God, we're how many hours into this, and we've got, like you said, not until October before the season starts. I mean, it could take more hours, it could take days, it could take weeks before something happens. Yeah, you see guys flying off the radar, flying off the board. You see a number of Blues players leave, which happens. I don't, I guess it's a little unusual to have this many leave at one time, but that core was together. The core of this team was together for a long time. And I mean, Schwartz was here for 10 years. I mean, how long do people expect some of these players to stay? Players don't stay in one. Players staying in one place for 10 years is rare. Pietrangelo was here for 10 years, wasn't he? About 10 years. Schwartz was 10. Tarasenko's approaching 10, right? I mean, it's just there's players move on, and I've been a fan since the early 80s, and it's just, there's sometimes teams have turnover and sometimes players leave, and you know what? New favorite players always come along. It always happens. I mean, you retool, you restock, and again, it all matters on how you restock it. I mean, what you replace the players that leave, what you replace them with, it's a big deal, obviously. So, but calm down, guys. Just calm the fuck down.
Yeah,
it's not. Yeah, we got $20 million after. Okay, say assuming Tarasenko gets traded, we have $20 million in cap space. This is for a team that has said they're going to spend to the cap, which will be interesting how they do it now. But that's a lot of money, and they have a lot of money to spend. Trades can be made, moves can be made. They could sign Saad, make a trade. I just don't get the freak out right now on day one.
Well, and I said to you in our Discord chat today that you have to wonder if maybe at the end of the day, because we did hear Armstrong come out last week and say that, basically he's told Tarasenko to prepare like you're a St. Louis Blue next season. You have to wonder, bringing in another Russian like Pavel Buchnevich, another guy who can carry the offensive load to a certain extent, maybe that's a way to say, look, Vladdy, we're willing to work with you. We got another guy here, speaks your home language, can score goals, plays on the right side, can even play on your left side if you guys really want to give it a shot. Let's, here you go. Does this make you any happier? And if Vladdy is truly 100% on that shoulder, I mean, you're talking about still having one of the best offenses in the NHL if Tarasenko rounds back into form. So, and then you're talking about still having cap space at this point to go get a Braden Saad, to re-sign a Tyler Bozak, and make a trade here or there. I mean, again, July 28th, folks, there's no reason to be worried at this point. There's still names available. It's just, and like we said, Tarasenko, there's still a chance he's here next year, and there's still a chance he's still the player he used to be.
I love the balls that Armstrong has for suggesting that Tarasenko should prepare to play with the Blues next season, because it is a possibility, but I don't think it's going to happen. But if it does, okay. So you've heard there have been former players interviewed about the situation to say they'll ask, when a player asks to be traded and wants out, and there's some bad blood or whatever for various reasons, what happened? Do you want that guy back in the locker room the following season? Every one of them, no. You got to move on from that guy. A guy who doesn't want to be here and is outspoken about it. You gotta cut ties with that guy, and which I understand. But I do like the balls on Armstrong to say that, because how bad does Tarasenko want out of here? If he wants out of here really bad, and Armstrong says, I don't like the offers I'm getting from these teams that are on your list to go to, you're going to have to expand your list. Or he could say, I have an offer from a team for you to go to here, and I will make that trade. I'll get you out of here, but it's not on your list. So you got to expand that list. So he's got, and I said in the Discord chat that people were saying that, Tarasenko holds all the cards. He does not hold all the cards. Armstrong,
no.
Like you said, Jeff, does not have to trade him. And if Tarasenko wants out that bad, he's going to have to bend to get out of here. Maybe. So we'll see.
Well, and I think it's also Armstrong showing that he knows the type of player Tarasenko is, and I think we all know this in St. Louis without actually being in the locker room. He's the type of guy that's October hits, he wants to play. So he's not going to hold out for a trade. He's not going to, at least, maybe we're wrong here, but I feel like he's the type of guy who's going to say, all right, well, I hope the team doesn't hate me. I'm still going to show up for training camp. I'm still going to give it my all. I'm still going to play hockey. And I think Armstrong knows that he's not going to sit out and demand, okay, trade me now because I'm not playing for you. You're going to have to bench me and fine me because I'm not going anywhere. And I don't think he's that type of guy. And I think Armstrong knows that. So he's, in a way, calling his bluff, but he's also flexing to other NHL GMs saying, listen, he wants to trade out of here, but I know he's still going to play for me. So you got to up your ante, boys, if you really want this guy. Just my thought.
Some chatter in the YouTube chat. Ben H 301 says, I really want Senko to stay. I think a lot of people want him to stay, but they're saying it's just not going to happen. People that talk to him says it's not going to. It just can't go back. I think the Blues would probably be a better team with him, with a right-minded, 100% Tarasenko, because the return that we get for him, wouldn't be, fair value. Although we'd have cap space then to go out and do something. But who can we get? Ben H31 says, what would the Blues give for Kuznetsov? They talked about Tarasenko. Tarasenko and what? Tarasenko and Kostin? It's an even money trade. Almost. I think Kuznetsov makes a little more, like a few $100,000 more. Like 7.8, something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't even know if I want Kuznetsov, to be honest.
I'd be interested, but yeah, part of me says I want to roll the dice on Tarasenko more than that.
Well, it's not even so much Kuznetsov's production; it's just the off the ice stuff to deal with. I don't know.
So we want to also mention defensemen that it's signed today that were kind of on at least Blues fans' radar. Ryan Suter, Ian Cole were two guys that were moved today, and I did throw in our notes here, Kurt. Wanted to mention Chris Weidman, St. Louis boy, back in the NHL, signed a 1-year deal today in Montreal, $750,000. He was a part of that infamous Uber dash cam stunt where he was recorded talking shit on the Ottawa Senators organization. He ended up getting involved, I think, in 2 trades later that year before having to sign in the KHL. Kind of blacklisted in the NHL. So good defenseman. I'd love to get Bill's take on this signing, but obviously he's not here. So very happy for Chris Weidman coming back in the NHL. Hopefully he can prove himself again in Montreal and put all that shit behind him. But either way, Ian Cole and Ryan Suter, 2 guys I think Blues fans were kind of looking at. The Ryan Suter contract, no thank you. 4 years, $14.6 million, $4.9 million AAV. Holy shit.
38? What is he?
I think he's 36.
36. I think you're right. He is 36. Yeah.
Yep. And he'll be 37 by in January.
Yeah.
So halfway through the season.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a lot.
I mean, I would have considered 2 years. 3 years, I would have said, okay, you better come super cheap. 4 years, absolutely not. No way.
You would think with 4 years, the AAV would be less.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You would think that, okay, if you sign for 2 years,
he's almost making 5, and then he's getting he's making damn good money. He's getting that buyout money from Minnesota too. Somebody said, which I didn't believe at first.
He's got a no movement clause.
Yeah,
do you know that?
No movement. Yep,
that's baloney. He got $5 million and 4 years and no movement clause. And no signing. Oh, I got a signing bonus this year, but nothing after that. Jesus Christ!
I don't.
They could buy him out, but they can't move him.
I don't understand it. I respect him for getting the maximum deal there. But somebody made a comment on Twitter that Ryan Suter's all about the money. He doesn't care about going to win now that he's going to be making good money for Minnesota for the next 8 years or whatever it is. And I thought, oh, that's baloney. You're just pissed because he's not going to sign with your team. I saw this and I'm like, holy shit. Okay. He's getting $5 million on top of the money he's making from Minnesota. And he gets a no movement clause for 4 years. He doesn't think that that's going to strap the Dallas Stars at all to go win a cup. I mean, maybe there is a little something to that. Now, I don't blame him. If you can make all the money you can while you're still an active player, I'm all for it. Go do it. But it does seem weird that a guy gets bought out and he basically signs a max deal rather than, you know what, I'm just going to go play and win myself a cup.
Isn't there a clause or a rule that when you buy someone out and they sign somewhere else, that new team absorbs some of that buyout?
I don't know if that's true.
I thought they were on the hook for a portion, or I don't. Maybe I could be way off on that.
You might be right, but I don't.
I thought I read that at one time where they a certain percentage of it, then they pay for that. I don't know, but either way, that's a no movement clause plus just about $5 million for 4 years. I'm thinking 2 years, $5 million each. Okay, because of 2 years, but God, he's 38. And 36 in 4 years, $5 million. Jesus Christ, that's gonna be a bad contract.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Can't move.
That's gonna be one that another GM's gonna inherit in Dallas. It's gonna be like, God damn it, Jim Nill, what the hell were you doing?
Yikes. Whatever. Fine.
Yep.
I don't like Dallas anyway, so that's fine.
Yep, I agree.
You know what? So they spent. What was it? How many? Like $12 million on goaltending or something like that. A while back.
Yeah.
$10 million on goaltending.
Well, and they got 3 NHL goalies locked up right now. Now, granted, Ben Bishop might be done. Hopefully not. We'll see. But yeah, they got Bishop, Qdobin, and today they signed Braden Holtby.
Holtby, yeah, for $2 million. So they've got they have $10.25 million wrapped up in goaltending again.
Yeah. Well, that might change. Maybe again, like I said, Bishop might retire. There's rumors of that, but it does seem odd that they're in that same situation again.
If he retires, he's leaving about $10 million on the table.
I think Arizona would gladly take on his contract.
I think Colorado would gladly take on his contract too. Although they need a goalie. They need a goalie. So I just
if he
just
doesn't
spitballing.
retire, yeah.
Right. What I'm saying is that if I can see them making a trade where Dallas retains salary. How much do they have in cap space? Dallas. They've got
Not
none.
a lot.
None.
Yeah.
0 according to Cap Friendly.
Yeah,
So yeah, they
that's
really
not surprising.
they can't really retain salary if they move him.
No,
I don't know. It's whatever.
unless they just move him for draft picks.
Yeah, but right. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Colorado taking him because Colorado's cap space can't be that much either, can it?
No.
Let's see. Look it up here. Colorado has. Well, they have 8, almost 9.
Yeah, but they've got more contracts coming up, I think, next summer. So I don't see them doing 1, 2, 3,
4, 5, 6. They have 7 UFAs and 1 RFA next summer.
Yeah,
including Burakovsky, Comfer.
Yeah, don't see that
Kadri.
happening.
No, Comfer. No, I'm sorry, Kadri. Which they probably let him walk, right?
At this point, hell yes. So still available. You mentioned Colorado. Well, Brendan Saad is one that we've already kind of talked about. He's the New Jersey. So according to Pierre LeBrun, the New Jersey Devils made a strong pitch to Saad today, but he has other offers on the table as well. Saad camp is carefully sifting through it all. So apparently he is pretty much the biggest forward left on the board. So if the Blues want him, they're probably going to have to overpay for him. It'll be interesting to see what he signs for. And
Doug J just pointed out in the YouTube chat that Colorado did sign Darcy Kemper, which we talked about earlier. I forgot.
Traded for Darcy Kemper. Yeah, he had 1 year left on his contract.
Right. And so there's that. But I mean, is he the answer there? No. But
and then also add again, Tyler Bozak is also still available. So I think that is 2 players that you might see in Blues jerseys next year. We'll see. Well, we're going to go ahead and get to our friends over at Center Ice telling us about, we're telling you about how great their beer is.
Center Ice Brewery is St. Louis's only hockey-themed brewhouse. Stop on in during the next game to experience the ultimate hockey fan brewery while sampling various hockey-inspired beers, such as Old Arena Lager, the Beauty IPA, the Rotating Pale Ale Series, or seasonal offerings such as their Imperial Stout, their Lime Sherbet Sour, and much more. While you're there enjoying any number of their fantastic beverages, you can admire the bar top and tables made of authentic arena wood and the actual penalty box door from the old barn. Located at 3126 Olive Street in Midtown St. Louis, it's one of the best places to watch a Blues game, or any game. Visit CenterIceBrewery.com today to schedule a no-contact curbside pickup or make a reservation in the tap room. Center Ice Brewery. Let's go Blues. Please drink responsibly.
And we are back. So, Kurt, you've been mentioning comments throughout the show. Any more we should get to before we continue?
There's a few in the Facebook chats. Let's see. Mary Woodruff Ponder says, happy birthday, Shay. And Nathan Kolda says, Landeskog, about Landeskog, so that put the Avs the advantage to go ahead and agree to give him that extra year. So they were talking about the 7 versus 8 years. Can't do 8 years unless it's a contract extension with the same team, right? That's true. So all of the teams can line for 7. So yeah, that gave them the ad for that. Yep.
That makes sense. All right. Well, and then also I'll add Derek in the YouTube chat says would argue that Kemper is the reason the Coyotes had our number last year. He does look good against the Blues.
Yeah, but I think Colorado has cup aspirations. They're and so is he a guy that can backstop them to a cup? I don't know.
We'll see. Guess we'll find out.
We'll find out. You never know.
Well, we do have some more free agency /draft /trades that we want to talk about in our NHL Rapid Fire Hockey Tidbits. But before we get to that, the NHL has released its 2021-2022 regular season schedule. Lot to get to. Obviously, NHL.com. Check that out if you want to see some of the highlights for the schedule. But since we're a Blues show, we're gonna talk about the Blues and their big, the big games to kind of mark on your calendar. First of all, as we said in previous show, Blues are back in the Central this year, the true Central. Arizona joins them as well, so a rival from last season comes back over with the Blues, which I think all Blues fans are not happy about because Arizona seems to have their number, but there's been a lot of turnover this year, so maybe that won't be the case anymore.
Even with the interesting situation we had with Arizona last year, I just don't care about Arizona. I cannot bring myself to care about that team. I just can't. They're not interesting to me. I guess maybe once they get, I don't know, whatever.
But they got wraparound Yaskin, baby.
Right. Who will get a video montage when he returns to St. Louis?
I'm sure he will. He damn well better. So Blues are back in the Central opening night, October 16th at Colorado. So similar to last season, opening the season in Colorado. Home opener, October 23rd versus the Kings. And then, of course, the Winter Classic will be at Target Field in Minnesota on January 1st. The first meeting against Jaden Schwartz, Vince Dunn, and the Seattle Kraken will be January 13th in St. Louis. So that'll be a highly anticipated game. I'm sure you can assume there will be video montages for both Schwartz and Vince Dunn in that game.
Kind of forgot about the Winter Classic with everything else going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
I'm looking forward to that. That'll be a nice little thing to look forward to in the middle of the season.
I saw somebody, I think it was St. Louis Game Time. They put up like their highlights from the schedule, and they put up Pat Maroon Homecoming. And it was like whatever. It was like in February, I think, when Pat Maroon and the Lightning come and visit. And I thought, has he not been here since they won the Cup? But then I remembered, I'm like, no, they did, because they gave him his cup ring when the Lightning came to town after they won the Cup. So yeah, they
did. Yeah,
he has been here. So at first I thought, holy shit, it would be crazy if that's the first time he got his cup ring from St. Louis, while he's won 2 more in Tampa. But no, that definitely did happen in the shortened season 2 years ago.
Adam Cowgill in the YouTube chat says JR has a story coming out soon about Tarasenko! !
Oh boy.
So I guess look for that. And Derek says white heritage jerseys for the Winter Classic.
I hope.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be that. I think that's kind of like a leaked thing. So white with the white the white version of the old Winter Classics, more or less, probably with the stripes on the shoulders too.
Whew, okay, so Rutherford's tweet, going to sleep? Don't. I've got a Tarasenko story coming at The Athletic that you might want to stay up for.
He's
God
awesome.
Damn it.
He is awesome.
Damn
he
you.
knows he's got the Blues Nation like on pins and needles, and if he says something, they're gonna like jump at it. He's so cool.
Yeah, I'm tweeting him right now and telling him we are live.
Talking about
and
it,
we
yeah.
don't want to not go live if you're gonna post this.
That's funny.
Okay,
And
sorry.
shout out to JR because through this entire offseason, so far he has been on it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Some fantastic insight articles on what's going on. So much information. And it's Rutherford. If you're a Blues fan, Rutherford alone is worth the subscription for The Athletic. It's such you just don't get that info anywhere else. It's great.
Apparently Michael Russo from Minnesota is also tweeting, stay up for my story. Pierre LeBrun is my lead. There's something going on here, folks. This is interesting. For those of you listening on the podcast, sorry, you probably already know what we're talking about. This is a big deal. So let's keep talking until we hear more. Season
Derek
finale.
Goes, there goes my sleep schedule.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'm not going to bed tonight. Sorry, work. Season finale, and we'll add, if something crazy does happen and we decide to close the show up, join us over at Discord, folks. We'll both. I'm not going to speak for Kurt. I'll jump on to Discord if something crazy happens tonight, and we can chat it out.
If it doesn't take too long, I'll be on there.
Yep. So again, season finale, April 29th versus the Vegas Golden Knights. So I was looking at this and I thought it was funny because I'm like, all of these big moments, with the exception of the Kraken game that I listed, all were rivals from last season in the West Division. So your finale, the Winter Classic, the home opener, opening night, all teams that were in the West Division. So none of those against the Blackhawks, which I thought was interesting. But just how the cookie crumbles.
I'm almost annoyed that our season opener is against the Avalanche again.
Yeah,
I'd like to, not have that stress of how we're going to look against the Avalanche.
Yeah, because there's going to be some turnover again this year, so it should be interesting.
Oh, the latest on, well, I'm not going to, the headline for Rutherford's article is the latest on Blues and Vladimir Tarasenko. Source says trade value is decreasing. It's time to move him. So, and there's a article about it. So if you want to read it and you're not a subscriber, subscribe and read it. I am. Well, I'll get to read it.
Yeah, me too. And you should be too if you're interested in The Athletic, definitely. Yeah, we'll just say the biggest point on that story was the Blues are only further just diminishing Tarasenko's value by hanging on to him this long. This is some source, apparently, that Rutherford has, which, I mean, the source, I'll give Rutherford credit and say he has to know more than me, but I wonder how true that is, because I look at it as the opposite, that forwards are going quick. So if you want to improve your forward depth, how many are left at this point? That's the way I see it.
Right. How many forwards are left, but also to counter that as well, that there are less teams maybe interested because they've already acquired a guy to help them.
That's a good point.
So,
yeah.
I mean, there's that too. And maybe that's what they're getting at to some degree. Whatever. In the end, I think I've come to terms with the idea that we're not going to get a lot for him. That I was of that opinion a while back, and I almost didn't care as long as we had that cap space to then go out and improve the team with his money. Because essentially, if you trade Tarasenko for a prospect or a pick, a couple picks, whatever, no big deal. Not fair return for him necessarily, but then you take his money and go sign somebody or trade for somebody and use his cap money to pay them, then that's kind of the part of the deal, So it's not, you're not just losing Tarasenko for next to nothing. You're also getting his cap space, which can turn into something else too. But I don't know.
Sorry. We love you, JR. You're our favorite friend of the show, true friend of the show. But his tweet, the latest in the Blues and Vladimir Tarasenko, source says trade value is decreasing. It's time to move him. I mentioned him on the show last week. I think Kyle Foxton, KFox9611, he quote tweets him and says, "Well, no shit." That's good stuff. Okay.
It's very matter of fact.
Yeah.
Kyle is. I like Kyle. Kyle's a good follow. On
yes.
Twitter. He's very, it doesn't say a lot, but when he just says something, it's worth reading.
Yes, it's usually pretty damn funny. So rapid fire hockey tidbits. I feel like we should have a sound effect for this, like a NHL 94 slap shot or something. You know what, Kurt? Vamp for me for a second.
Oh, sure. So I think The Athletic was actually running a special a while back. I'm not sure if it's still running, but it was $1 a month, which is crazy cheap. And that's the deal I got in on for The Athletic. Why am I running an Athletic commercial here right now? For The Athletic?
I like how that's your vamp.
My vamp is a commercial for a non-paying company. But no, I mean, they had a deal where it was $1 a month, and I subscribed a while back for that. I was a subscriber before, and then I just kind of re-upped at that rate. So that was pretty cool. I don't know what they're charging right now, but I don't know if it's like $3, $5, $6 a month, whatever, but it's worth it. Stuff Rutherford releases stuff all the time. There's some good stuff there for other hockey teams as well, and other sports. So if you're not a subscriber, check it out.
Well, damn it! I did used to have a Slapshot sound on my computer, but I don't have it. So I'm just gonna go with this. That would be the NHL '97 theme.
Oh. Well, if you're gonna go themes, go 94.
Well, that's the only one I could find in short notice. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. I didn't know what that was. I didn't have. I had 97 was for the PC. I didn't play it that much. Huh.
Oh, there it's starting over. Yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be our sound effect for this. God damn it! Not what I wanted. Rapid fire hockey tidbits. First of all, let's talk about Bills Montreal Canadiens. They drafted Logan, I think it's Mayu, might be Mayu.
Are you sure it's not Mailaux?
Mailux. I think it's Mailux.
Mailaux?
Mailaux. He basically asked to not be drafted. Mayu was playing for SK Leon in Sweden's third division last year when he was fined by a Swedish court after he was convicted of charges related to sharing without her consent a photo of a woman performing a sexual act. He basically told teams before the draft, do not draft me. Basically, I need to get my shit in order. Which I will say is fairly mature of him to request that. Say, don't do this. Don't draft me. But then for the Canadiens to just go and do it with their first round pick. And let's also add, Mark Bergevin was a member. He's a GM of the Canadiens. He was a member of that 2010 Chicago Blackhawks team that looked the other way on sexual abuse of a player. He was part of management. And then he went on to be the Canadiens GM shortly after. So he was already under fire for something similar, and then they go and draft this kid.
Did
what
you hear
the fuck are you doing?
I know. Did you hear what Bergevin said about why he drafted? He said the talent drop off between him and our next highest rated guy was too great to not draft this guy.
I don't fucking care.
I don't either.
I don't fucking care. The next guy could have been somebody who plays in my league, and I would still say draft the guy in my league. What the fuck are you? What are you proving to young females who have had this kind of thing happen to them? What are you proving to kids? What are you? It's awful. It was the wrong decision, and Arizona made a terrible decision last year in their draft. They rescinded it and basically said, we're not going to sign him. Montreal's sticking to their guns here. I know that they issued an apology today. They tried to hide it, try to slide it in during free agency, but it's a terrible move. It was a terrible look. I don't know why the fuck they did this.
You know what? It's not hard to maintain good PR nowadays. Just don't do dumb shit. Right? And they went and did a dumb thing. So I don't.
And I'll add, I think if you hold off and I know that you wanted him, he was on your draft board, but if you hold off and wait to try and draft him until the third round, this is still a big deal, but it's not nearly as big of a deal because those rounds don't get the coverage the first round does. Just a terrible, terrible move by the Canadiens. And I think you're going to start seeing some heads roll in Montreal after this. This was just a bad call.
Yeah, maybe they walked all big dick into the room since they went to the final, and they figured they can do whatever they want.
Yeah. Very possibly. Well, some trades to announce. There's been a lot of them. We don't need to touch on all of these, but Columbus trades Cam Atkinson to Philadelphia for Jakub Voracek, which I only mentioned that one because Voracek was rumored to be one of the ones that Philadelphia was trying to move to get Tarasenko. So clearly that did not happen, but they still end up moving him to Columbus. Sam Reinhart rumored to be coming to St. Louis. Well, he goes from Buffalo to Florida. In the deal, the Panthers traded Devin Levy. I think he's related to Eugene, maybe his son. I don't know for sure.
Are you making a joke or are you serious?
Am I? Yes, I am joking.
I was like, I'm hoping that's true.
And
I hadn't heard that.
He has very large eyebrows.
Eugene Levy. Oh, yeah. His best work was in Splash, I think. Don't you?
Oh, for sure. Hell yeah. And then they also got a 2022 first-round pick. Want to talk about Chicago. They did some stuff, let's just say. So they acquired Tyler Johnson, Tampa Bay's 2023 second-round pick, Marc-Andre Fleury, Seth Jones, Columbus's 2021 first-round pick, and Columbus's 2022 sixth-round pick. So in exchange, the Lightning for Tyler Johnson, they received Brent Seabrook's contract. Marc-Andre Fleury literally went for nothing after winning the Vezina Trophy this past season. And then Chicago sent Adam Boquist, who a lot of people believe is going to be a pretty good NHL talent, a 2021 first-rounder and a 2021 second-rounder and a 2022 first-rounder for Seth Jones to Columbus. So, and then they signed Jones to an insane deal where he's making 9.5 AAV for the next 7 years, something like that. I don't remember exactly the number, but I mean, okay. lot to break down here, but the one that got me
nine and a half for, sorry, he's making 9.5 for, oh God, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
8 years. Yep.
Yeah. And that starts not this year, but next.
Yeah. He's still got 1 year left on his deal.
And he's 26.
So he'll be 30.
I mean,
35
God,
when that contract's up.
Shit,
yeah.
That's a lot.
Yep. So, yeah, you know what? We're already talking about that. Let's go ahead and talk about that. That was, so they trade Duncan Keith, and then they moved Brent Seabrook's contract, which is going to be LTIR for the Lightning. And then they just go and get themselves back right into cap hell with another defensive contract. Interesting move by Stan Bowman. Seth Jones is a fine defenseman, and he is going to look great in a Blackhawks jersey, I'm sure. But it was a puzzling move to see him make such a big trade in a rebuild. This team's still trying to rebuild. And then he moves one of their top prospects, 2 first-rounders and a second-rounder. Whew! That's a lot. And then Marc-Andre Fleury, which, they gave up nothing to get him, which I will say, I hate those trades. I hate we're just going to send this player and draft picks to you, and you're just going to give us nothing. I think that is, it's a cop-out to me. But, so they get Marc-Andre Fleury. Now there's rumors that he might retire because he didn't want to leave Vegas.
I hope he does.
What's that?
I hope he does.
I hope he does too.
I hope he retires. That'd be great.
But let me ask you, if that happens, and I think we talked about this a little bit earlier on the Discord chat, does the cap recapture penalty, does that go to Vegas or does that go to Chicago? I think it goes to Vegas. But man, I hope it goes to Chicago.
I don't know. You would think Chicago would have some kind of clause in that trade where if he retires, then something would happen. They would get compensation or something.
Oh man. Oh, wow. Derek. Sorry, Derek in the YouTube chat. I have an Atkinson jersey and a Voracek jersey. Whoa, boy. Can you get those swapped, possibly?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. There's a couple of comments about Tarasenko. Div by Zero says, if we aren't getting much for him, then he shouldn't be traded. I'm sorry, but trading at an all-time low makes no sense at all. If he is healthy, play him and let him raise his value on the ice.
Agree.
I get that
100%.
sentiment. I do. But not if you have something you want to do and you need the cap space for. So it all depends on what else is going on in Armstrong's mind and what he has lined up, if anything. So I think not getting fair value for him is okay if what you want to pull off is pretty fantastic. So we'll see.
So I have to disagree with a tweet here because I'm still trying to
What?
follow the whole Tarasenko thing. I know disagreeing
Something on
with something
Twitter is inaccurate
Oh.
that you disagree with? What?
Well, and it's a guy that I don't like to, he does a fine job with what he does. Thomas Welch. He says there's 2 teams still interested in Vladdy, and Doug is asking for too much in return. Do the thing, Doug, and no one's going to blame you for getting fleeced in a scenario where you have absolutely zero leverage. It's time to move on. Completely disagree. I think Armstrong still has all the leverage.
He does. He has leverage, sure.
He has all the leverage because he's just easily going to tell Tarasenko, you want to be traded? Okay, well, I can't find you a team in your list that's willing to give me what I need. You're going to be a Blue next season unless you expand your list or, something else gives. It's up to you. I think this is still completely in Doug Armstrong's court because Tarasenko's, again, he's not going to sit out. I don't see that happening.
I don't know. See, it's interesting what has come out about Tarasenko since this whole thing went down. You hear people talking, people that are kind of in the know, former players and whatnot, and people that are on the team, about how Tarasenko wasn't the easiest guy to get along with, for example, and not the best teammate, for example. And I'm like, really? Because I wouldn't have guessed that, because on the ice, seems like a pretty good teammate. He's always couldn't be happier when they score and it's not him. He's just happy as can be for the other guy who scores. And he always says the right things during interviews and things. Always very complimentary of the crowd and his teammates. Never really spoke with the media though, aside from like being interviewed like as a star of the game or whatever. He didn't really talk after games too much, did he? I can't recall him. It was always O'Reilly or somebody else. I don't know. It's just weird hearing that stuff come out, and then it's like, okay, well, if we do bring him back, you talk about like cancers and stuff, or bad people who are bad for the locker and bad for the team. Would this be a bad enough situation where you absolutely didn't want to bring him back? And a couple months ago I would have said no, but now I don't know. I'm wondering about what kind of player he is, because he puts on a good face for the crowd and on the ice, but maybe he's not the easiest guy to get along with in the locker room. So, and if the team knows he doesn't want to be there, and they might question his heart on the ice because of that reason, I don't know. That's a really touchy situation. But it's happened with players before. Players demand trades during the season, for example, and they play. So it happens.
Well, and that's my point too. Is I think if Tarasenko and that's maybe that's just the conversation Armstrong needs to have with him is, listen, if you really want to get the fuck out of here, you got to up your game, because I'm not just going to trade you for spare parts. Like you're a big part of this team. If you're going to be traded, I'm getting something in return. Right now, your trade value has never been lower. So you need to go out there at the start of the season and prove you're worth something. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I don't know. it's such a tough situation. And I think if you're Armstrong, if you have a decent offer, you move him. And who knows what Armstrong has actually been offered, but if he doesn't like it, it's like, I don't know. It's such an interesting thing because, like I said earlier in the show, former players who have been asked this question about the same issue, and they've said, guys who don't want to come back, you got to get them out of there. They don't want to play for you. You got to get them out of there. And I understand that. But then I also understand. I think if Armstrong were to be telling Tarasenko that, Jeff, I got to assume it's just him playing chicken with Tarasenko.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I got to think it's that. I mean, I don't. From everything you hear, it's like the situation can't be repaired, and I don't know if you want that in the locker room.
No, I agree. I agree with that. So a couple signings of note. Well, we mentioned the trade with Darcy Kemper earlier, but overall, the Avalanche traded a 2022 first-round pick and defenseman Connor Timmins, who was in their bottom four, I guess. But so they lose Ryan Graves and Connor Timmins this year, which is a little bit of their depth on defense. Signings of note. So I want to go ahead and, since we mentioned that, Seattle, Philip Grubauer, who I want to punch in the face so dearly. He signs with the Seattle Kraken, which is another reason for me to root against the Kraken. 6 years, $35.4 million, which is a 5.9 AAV. So interesting to see the goalie shuffle. I guess, well, now you can say in the Central Division, because Grubauer leaves. Colorado was kind of without a goalie at a point, and they went out and got Darcy Kemper today. Might want to say it's a panic move, but at the same time, I think Darcy Kemper's a very capable goaltender as long as he can stay healthy. But interesting to see Grubauer move on, which I think a lot of people thought, just kind of assumed he would return to Colorado.
Yeah, had a great year last year too. And with cup aspirations, you let your number one go and bring in Kemper. I don't know about that, but yeah, interesting too with Grubauer and his comments after the series and everything, and now Dunn and Schwartz on the team. You gotta wonder how. I mean, I'm sure it's fine. Yeah, whatever. I mean, it's not they're teammates now, so water under the bridge. But I'm sure that it probably crossed Schwartz and Dunn's minds, like, huh, that guy, huh? Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So other signings of note: Braden Point re-signs with Tampa, 8 years, $76 million at $9.5 million AAV, which just adds to their cap trouble coming up. And then I also want to add real quick, friends of the St. Louis Blues is what we'll call him. Brian Elliott. He is now the backup in Tampa. 1 year, $800,000. And then Carter Hutton in Arizona signs a 1 year, $750,000 contract, which is kind of a prove-it deal for him that he belongs in the NHL, which we all as Blues fans will say he does, but I think Sabres fans have another story just because the Sabres have been so awful since he signed there.
If you base whether or not a player deserves to be in the NHL on how they play in Buffalo, no Buffalo players deserve to play in the NHL.
Yeah, Ryan O'Reilly doesn't belong in the NHL.
No, not at all. Yep. Did you skip over Carolina signing, or did you say that for last?
Yeah, I figured we'd save that. So if you want to talk about it now, we can.
I kind of do.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, so Carolina signs Tony DeAngelo to a 1 year contract.
I didn't see what the money was on that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
No.
The guy is, I mean, I'm okay. So the guy's just a piece of shit player. He's an awful player, awful person. And Carolina, who is like trailblazing as far as unity and acceptance, and they always have the best social media stuff for Pride Nights, and hockey is for everyone kind of thing. And they bring in a guy who is like against all of that. It's just kind of like, I mean, I get Carolina's like, oh yes, we're accepting for everyone. We'll bring you in. No, that's not the way it works. don't act like don't bring him into the fold. This guy, I mean, he's abusive officials. What did he do? He fought his goaltender in a game,
and he got punched in the face by a teammate.
Punched in the face by the goalie, and he got in a fight with him.
Yeah.
By stuff he said, and he's a racist. He's an idiot. And it's not just one or two incidents. He's had incidents like this all throughout his hockey career, all the way back to juniors. So it's just, I don't know why they would do this. And the Rangers gave him one more shot and said, you know what, straighten up or you're gone. And then what does he do? He fights his goalie. So it's like, asshole. And they waved him. And it's just, I don't get it. I mean, the guy's character is awful. I mean, didn't they say today too that his character is supported? Like people are vouching for his character, like former players. I'm like, yeah,
Mike Rupp. Actually, let me find him real quick. He tweeted something today which I completely disagreed with. Just a friendly reminder that every teammate of Tony DeAngelo that I have ever spoken to thoroughly enjoyed him as a teammate. Some people can't help themselves in trying to vilify him to fit their agenda. Let's move on now. No, Mike Rupp. Let's not fucking move on. Just because you got punched in the face a million times as a fucking NHL player doesn't mean that you really know what's going on in the NHL locker rooms. And we don't either. 100% agree. We don't either. But the guy has gotten in fights with teammates. I mean, you can't claim that every team. So clearly you have not talked to Georgiev on the Rangers.
Right. I know, right?
Clearly you didn't talk to any of his Rangers teammates, because I bet he wasn't the only one that felt that way. I mean, shit drives me crazy. Shut up.
He's been suspended for violating the homophobic, racist, and sexist language policy. He physically assaulted an official, was suspended for that. He has maturity issues. He has behavioral incidents on record, and he attacked his own goalie and got in a fist fight with a teammate. He's also kind of stupid with comments he makes on social media about various things. So I can't think of a worse guy to bring into a locker room, honestly. Vouching for his character or whatever. It's absurd. I mean, and then this happened in 2014, 15, 17, 20, and 21. It's not just one incident that happened 10 years ago. It's like all throughout his. It's just it happens.
It reminds me again of that, and I'm drawing a blank on his name, but the Coyotes draft pick last year, who the Coyotes said, "Oh, he's learned the error of his ways," but it was like, no, there's clear evidence that for the last 10 years, this has been going on where he was bullying a kid with special needs. And it's like, he obviously has not learned. Don't tell us he's learned, because he hasn't. It's the same thing with DeAngelo. This is a repeat thing. It keeps happening. So clearly, he has not learned from his past transgressions.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys that if the Blues were to have brought in, I'd be pissed. I'd be upset.
Oh, I would have too.
For free, just to sign.
That's one guy that I would root against if he was in a Blues jersey.
Yeah, it doesn't happen too often, but I'm with you. I would just not, as I can't wait to move on from him.
Yeah, so. I would say, I don't care how fucking good he plays. I don't care if he scores 100 goals. I don't want him on this roster. That's just a guy I don't want in the locker room.
Anybody that's,
I don't want him
supporting him.
I don't want him being an idol for children. I just don't want that.
No. Yeah, I'm not going to root for this piece of shit. I don't want to do that. And anybody that's like on board saying, "Oh, he's a good guy." You don't know him. I know a guy who knows a guy. He's a good guy, good character. Bullshit.
Yeah. Agree. Well, anything else to get to here, Kurt, as we start to wrap up the show?
Derek says, "I love how we state fighting your own teammate as an example of bad behavior," and he laughs.
That is a great point. But you know what, though? Again, that wasn't we're losing, we're pissed off that we're losing. That was from all accounts that I've heard, that was this dude's a piece of shit. He needs to be punched in the face.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case with Bortuzzo and Sanford, who, by the way, are still teammates. Nobody was bought out. Nobody was traded. That was just a team thing that happened.
I don't know. And again, Carolina has been such a model organization for the inclusiveness aspect of hockey, and this is just this people that become Hurricanes fans that are probably type people that D'Angelo can't stand.
Yeah,
and probably these people don't approve at all of what he's done. So it's just it's a weird thing.
A friend of the show, I'm drawing a blank on his last name, but we had him on when we talked about the Edmondson and Falk trade. His name's Omar. He's of Egyptian descent.
Yes, and he was with the podcast.
Drawing
right?
a blank. Red Rampage.
Yes,
is that it?
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're
right.
Wow,
I pulled that one out of my ass. Omar, I still follow him on Twitter, and he was tweeting today about how awful this is and how it makes him not want to support the team. And I 100% get that. Like, this dude's a bigot, and you're going to bring him into your locker room? I mean, good Lord.
Yeah. I mean, what does that say to all the fans you brought into the arena with your inclusive, message over the past so many years? You brought a lot of fans in, and now you're bringing this guy in. It's like, what?
Yeah.
You expect these fans to cheer for this guy? I mean,
I don't get it. I don't get it. Anything else, Kurt?
Ken Morris said, did not Sanford and Bortz have a fight in practice? Yeah, that was over something that wasn't ever said what it was about. It was frustrations from the play. It was just
frustration.
Of the team, mainly, yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything personal. It was just a frustrations being let out in practice. And so
I mean,
I don't read too much into that.
I fought my own teammate before, which was ridiculous. But in the heat of the moment, man, it happens.
Yeah.
But again, with this was not a heat of the moment situation.
This was like
all accounts
off the ice too. This was like a locker room area.
They were leaving the ice. They were getting off the ice, I believe, when it happened.
Yeah. So it wasn't anything from just, frustration about whatever, and then something didn't go right on the ice, and somebody gets pissed. It's afterwards. It's something was said. So.
Yep. Well, I guess we're going to start wrapping up here, folks. Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by ID Life, the world's only truly personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment of your DNA. Visit rockinthatidlife.com for more information. That's rockinthatidlife.com, and get 10% off by visiting by texting Dustin at 636-393-8745 and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. That's 636-393-8745. And by Center Ice Brewery, St. Louis's hockey-themed brewery. Visit centericebrewery.com today to schedule a no-contact curbside pickup or to make a reservation in their awesome tap room. While you're there and enjoying a number of their fantastic beers, you can admire the bar top and tables made of authentic arena wood. Located at 3126 Olive Street in Midtown St. Louis, it's one of the best places to watch a Blues game. That's centericebrewery.com. Please drink responsibly. That will do it for episode 46 of season 9 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the show. We had a blast doing it, the show as always, so thank you for tuning in. Adam Cowgill, by the way, says, great show as always, boys. See y'all at Center Ice soon. Hell yeah, Adam. We will. Sounds good to me. For Kurt Price and the On Assignment Bill Day, I'm Jeff Ponder, and this was Let's Go Blues Radio. Until next time, everyone, Let's go Blues.
I don't know what we're worried about. There's a handshake deal in place for Tarasenko, agreed upon last month. It's going to happen.
Oh, good God. Here we go again. Yeah, Kurt said, let's go Blues, everybody.
Let's go Blues.
Why is this not loading?
I don't know. It's like you're driving the show right into a ditch right now.
The Chiefs are at home tonight against Cyanosport at the War Memorial at 8. Good seats are still available. A look at sports. I think that went very well.
Thank you for listening to Let's Go Blues Radio. Now take off, hosers.
I want you to have a heart attack and die so that we never have to do this shit again.
Well, there's 90 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Sorry.
St. Louis Blues, St. Louis Blues. Have you heard the news about our St. Louis Blues? They've only just begun, they're on their way to number one. Now there's no more blues for our St. Louis Blues. The Blues are on the ice tonight again. They're rough and tough and got the stuff to win. They'll always get one more, no matter what the score. They are quite a hockey team, my friend. They never give a